Hello and welcome back to another Championship Prediction show. We are now on game week 2. What a fantastic opening weekend to the season we had last week. Pick of which was Stoke City gaining a very good victory against Rotherham 4-1 and Ipswich Town beating Sunderland 2-1 away from home. Top scorer last week was joint top with 17 points was Nelson A 0-0 on 17 points and 4 perfect scores, and Rhino, familiar face there, on 17 points as well with 5 perfect scores. So those two guys are already up atop the leaderboard and there to be shot down. But we move on to game week 2 and it opens up on Saturday at 12:30 lunchtime. We got Coventry City coming up against Middlesbrough. Coventry narrowly losing against Leicester City 2-1, real tough fixture that was, but an excellent game. And Middlesbrough surprisingly losing against Millwall at home 1-0. I believe Coventry, they looked really good last weekend and I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory. We then move on to the first of the 3 PM kickoffs where Birmingham City, where the rebuild is well and truly underway, they take on Leeds United, who came back from 2-0 down against Cardiff City to draw 2-2. I think it was something like the 98th minute, which they equalised. In this one, I think Leeds will probably be a little bit too strong for Birmingham. Leeds created lots of chances in that game last weekend, and I think Birmingham will score, but Leeds will win 3-1 overall. Then we move to the Cardiff City Stadium where Cardiff City take on Queen's Park Rangers, and I'm actually going to be in attendance at this game. Cardiff look good, still a little bit vulnerable at the back. QPR absolutely terrible, getting thumped 4-0 by Watford. So fully expect Cardiff City score a couple of goals in this one, and the defence hopefully it'll hold out and I can see them winning 2-0. We then move on to the John Smith Stadium where Huddersfield take on Leicester City. Leicester down in the Championship again looked good against Coventry, winning of course 2-1, and I think they should have enough to beat Huddersfield in this one, and I'm going to go for a 3-0 away victory to the Foxes. Then we move on to the MKM Stadium where Hull City take on Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday last Friday night lost 2-1 against Southampton. Southampton left it late to gain all 3 points there, and Hull City lost away against Norwich. But I think Hull, the Tigers, will bounce back in this one and I expect them to win 1-0. Then we move on to Ipswich Town against Stoke City. As I've already said, both of these teams gained excellent victories last weekend. A tight one this one, could go either way, but I am going to sit on the fence and go for a 1-1 draw. Then we move down to London to the Den where of course Millwall last week an excellent away victory against Middlesbrough 1-0 on Bristol City being held to Preston North End. Another tight one possibly? Nah, not in London. Bristol City going away there. I think the Lions will win this one 2-0. Then we move to Deepdale where Preston of course did draw against Bristol City last weekend. They take on Sunderland. Sunderland, a few chances last weekend, but ultimately losing it against a very good Sunderland team. But in this one, another tight match, but I am going to just give it to Preston to win 2-1 to get their first victory of the season. Then we move on to Rotherham United coming up against Blackburn Rovers. Rotherham all at sea last week in that defeat against Stoke, and Blackburn Rovers really impressing me when before the season, tipping them to struggle, but I think they'll follow up last weekend's victory with another win here against the Millers, and I can see Blackburn Rovers winning this one 1-0. Then we move on to the Saints at St Mary's taking on Norwich. Southampton should really be too strong against this Norwich side, who did, to be fair to them, gain all 3 points last week against Hull, but I think Southampton will come away at home with a 2-0 victory. Then we move on to Watford. Watford at this present time are top of the table, a virtue of that 4-0 victory last weekend, taking on Plymouth A, who did well themselves, winning 3-1 at home against Huddersfield. But I think Watford will take the spoils on this one, and this time I think Plymouth will be on the wrong end of a 3-1 defeat. And the final fixture of this game week sees West Bromwich Albion taking on the Jacks of Swansea. Swansea, of course, drawing 1-1 against Birmingham, and West Brom didn't look too great against Blackburn Rovers last weekend, so another tight one this one. West Brom really got to show something to their fans, but I think it's going to end up all square 1-1. So there we have it, guys. Those are my predictions for game week 2 of this EFL Championship season 2023-2024. Make sure you play along at home by visiting the Superbru website and enter your scores there. And if you haven't already joined, which is free, the link is in the description and the code is in there as well. And if I can, I'll put it up on the screen for you now. But enjoy your championship weekend, and I'll see you all in the next predictions video.